Cars and trucks, moving people and goods every day, fast and safe. A truck going on a street with a powerful traction. Motor vehicles are driven by an engine. However, they cannot be operated smoothly when the road wheels are driven directly by the engine. For smooth operation of the vehicle with utmost efficiency, the engine torque is relayed via the clutch, transmission, propeller shaft, and differential to the drive wheels. This system is called drivetrain. Drivetrain. Then what is the role of the system called drivetrain? Let's make a simple test using a model truck. A weight is hung onto a string tied to the model truck. As you can see, the model truck will not start rolling unless it is pushed from behind. This means that greater force is required to start the truck than to keep it rolling. Let's see what happens when the truck is loaded. The truck also starts moving as the pull is increased. This indicates that an extra force equivalent to increased truck load is necessary for starting the truck from rest. Similarly, greater force is required when climbing a slope. When a vehicle is climbing a slope, gears are generally shifted. Let's make another test to see the effect of shifting gears. When pulling a weight by a motor using a set of gears with different gear ratios, as you can see, greater force is obtained with the larger gear. However, the load can be pulled at a faster rate of speed with the smaller gear than with the larger gear. Let's make a test with a pair of model trucks to make clear the difference in speed. In this instance, both model trucks are powered by a motor with the same power rating. Even though the truck with the smaller gear can go faster, it cannot climb a steep slope. Conversely, the truck with the larger gear has a lower speed, but it can climb the slope. This means that to utilize the engine torque most effectively, the smaller gear is used when great traction is not needed, and the larger gear is used when greater traction is required. To utilize the engine torque to the fullest extent, a motor vehicle is equipped with a gear system by which drive torque and drive speed can be controlled. And this gear system is referred to as transmission. There are available manual type transmissions with manual gear shifting and automatic transmissions by which gear shifting is made automatically. But let's go into detail and see how the manual type transmission works. Transmission consists of a large number of gears. Using a model transmission, let's see how the engine torque is carried through the transmission. The shaft on the power side is called top gear shaft, and that carrying the power is called the counter shaft. The shaft from which the power is taken is referred to as the main shaft. The largest gear on the main shaft is called low gear. The next largest gear is called second gear. The smallest gear, called the top gear, couples the main shaft directly with the top gear shaft. Here you can see how the rotating speed of the main shaft is changed with the direction of gears. With low gear, with second gear, and with top gear. Thus, the transmission with gears slided for engagement is called selective mesh type transmission. However, other type transmissions with smoother gear shifting are generally employed. One of the improved type transmissions is a constant mesh type with synchro mesh on the gears. In the picture, the left side of the transmission is coupled to the engine, and the right side is connected to the propeller shaft. Unlike the selective mesh type transmission, the constant mesh type transmission has the gears in constant engagement, and engine torque is carried via the synchronizer. Shown here is the synchromesh device. It consists of blocker ring, sleeve, clutch hub, inserts, etc. Now let's see how the synchromesh works. As the sleeve moves, the blocker ring is forced against the gear. The sleeve engages the gear when synchronization is achieved. The term synchromesh refers to the condition in which gears are meshed through synchronization. When synchronization is attained, the engine torque is carried via the sleeve to the main shaft. Here you can see how the engine torque is carried in each gear. First speed, second speed, third speed, and fourth speed. This is the synchromesh device. Just as shown, the transmission assembly consists of a large number of parts. Let's try gear shifting with the transmission mounted to the engine. It seems difficult to achieve gear shifting, but smooth gear shifting can be attained by totally disengaging the transmission from the engine and re-engaging the transmission smoothly so that the engine torque is relayed to the main shaft. The clutch is a device adapted for engaging and disengaging the engine and transmission. In the clutch system, the engine and transmission are disengaged and re-engaged with only a little movement of the clutch parts. Shown here is the clutch pressure plate assembly. At the center is the diaphragm spring. Then what is the function of the parts? The pressure plate assembly is mounted to the flywheel at the rear of the engine, and a driven plate is interposed between the parts. As the clutch pedal is depressed, the pressure plate is moved. The driven plate is released from the flywheel so that engine power is cut off. When the clutch pedal is released, the driven plate is forced against the flywheel so that the engine torque is carried to the transmission side. Abrupt engagement of the clutch will result in engine stalling or undue stress on the various parts of the drivetrain. For smooth transmission of the engine torque, it is necessary to engage the clutch gradually, allowing slippage of the driven plate. The condition under which the driven plate is not completely pressurized is referred to as partly engaged clutch. This condition is brought about when driving with your foot resting on the clutch pedal. This causes slippage of the driven plate, resulting in heat generation, thus accelerating driven plate wear. This condition is also brought about when there is too little or too much free play in the clutch pedal. When reversing the vehicle, since the gears are made to rotate in the reverse direction, gear shifting should be made after the wheels stop completely. This precaution also applies when moving forward after reversing. Thus, the vehicle can deliver full power when the clutch and transmission are operated properly. In normal driving, gear shifting is made in sequence of low, second, third, and so forth, according to the road conditions, so that the engine torque can be utilized efficiently. Skipping a gear will result in That's right. Be smart enough not to cause yourself trouble. Now let's see how the speed is controlled by means of gear shifting. The counter at right indicates the engine speed. Gear shifting is made with the engine running at a constant speed of approximately 900 RPM. Note the change in reading of the revolution counter at left. From low to second, third, top. Note the counter now coincides with the engine speed. With the transmission in top gear, the engine is coupled directly with the main shaft. 1058 RPM. Now the reading of the counter at left is exceeding the engine speed. This condition is called overdrive and is useful for economical driving at high speed. Reverting to the clutch, the engine torque carried via the clutch and transmission is relayed past the propeller shaft to the differential system. The differential system consists of a large ring gear, which is in engagement with a small pinion gear connected to the propeller shaft. The engine torque carried by the propeller shaft is multiplied through reduction by the pinion gear and ring gear. The differential system also serves to change the direction of torque flow for driving the road wheels. This system includes differential gears. They provide a differential action between the road wheels for smooth cornering. Here you can see the right and left side wheels are turning at different speeds. This effect is called differential action. Now let's make some simple calculations to find the relations between the power relayed to the wheels and the rotating speed of the wheels. Assuming the gear ratio of the transmission low gear to be 5:1 and the reduction gear ratio of the differential to be 6:1 respectively, the rotating speed of the drive wheels will be as follows when the engine is running at 2400 RPM. With the transmission in low gear, the speed at which the wheels are rotated will be 80 RPM, 1/30th the speed of the engine, and the torque carried by the wheels will be 5 times 6, which is 30 times the engine torque. When the transmission is in top gear with the gear ratio of 1:1, the speed at which the wheels are rotated will be 1/6, or 400 RPM, and the torque will be 6 times that of the engine. Lubricating oil plays a vital role in the transmission and differential. Its main role includes lubrication for smooth rotation of the vital parts, absorption of heat generated through rotation, plus removal of contaminants from sliding parts. Therefore, the use of deteriorated oil can invite troubles. For best results, it is always advisable to use the specified lubricant in each system and to change oil at specified intervals. the engine torque, carried via the clutch, transmission, propeller shaft, and differential, drives the road wheels. Thus, the vehicle can provide satisfactory performance with the aid of the drivetrain. The drivetrain has been developed for efficient utilization of the engine torque, and improvements have been made in quest of more safety and operating economy. Extensive research and development are still being continued for the betterment of vehicles and a more enjoyable life.